Hello and welcome back to Leaps and Lore with Meg. For today's video, we're going to be kicking off the new year with my January TBR. And if you're new here, I play a TBR game where I have a board, which I will share a link down below for you to be able to use as well, where I roll dice, go through it, and it provides me with challenges along the way. So without further ado, let's see what challenges await me for January.
Okay, let's do our first roll.
So for roll number 1, I ended up rolling science fiction, and I have chosen Antibot by Sierra Greer. This is a story about a scientist and a robot created for companionship who begins to question the limitations that are placed upon her and her existence. As Annie seeks to break the control and constraints that she's been placed upon, it really has a complex theme of entity, control, and what it means to be alive. And I think this is going to be a really dark and reflective tale on feminism and be thought-provoking and unforgettable, so I'm very excited to delve into this.
Roll number 2 is another 6. So let's go to 12. And that is a fantasy. Very nice.
The next roll landed on fantasy, and for this one I have chosen The Lies of Locke Lamora by Scott Lynch. I have been meaning to read this forever. This is a part of my 25 and 2025, so I wanted to go ahead and get this on the board. I am going to buddy read this, hopefully with Jessica, my friend, and I'm super looking forward to that because that's always a lot of fun when you get to do that as well. This follows Locke Lamora, who is like a con artist, thief, leader of this group of people called the Gentlemen Bastards. And I believe there's a heist that goes wrong and they have to then navigate the consequences of that, from what I understand. It has some themes of being within the city and found family, deception, heists, seeking adventure, and this one has been on my radar for ages, so I am definitely looking forward to getting into this.
Roll number 3 is a 2. So we are really loading up the rolls here. And that is another sci-fi. So we're gonna give myself a really happy January reading my favorite genres, apparently. So that's nice.
Next, I rolled another science fiction, and for this one, I am picking Exit Strategy, which is book 4 in the Murderbot series by Martha Wells. I don't know why I forgot that. This being the 4th book, I know what I'm going into, and I really enjoy this series. It is full of humor and adventure, and I love the main character of this. It is a self-aware android that knows more about the world than most humans, and the kind of drama and friendship that he gains along the way, and just the witty banter and action-packed moments of this series are just so good. And I love the sarcasm that the main character brings just because of the self-awareness that he has both for himself but also for humanity, and the kind of outside perspective that brings is really, really good. So I'm looking forward to getting into the 4th book of the series, and it's another short novella.
And for roll number 4, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 at 25. Oh, BookTube recommends. So I am going to read a book that I find has been recommended to me from BookTube. So that's going to be fun.
Next is one of my favorite spots that I put on my board, and that is the BookTube recommends. So I've actually been recommended quite a few books so far, and I have been adding those to a special list on Storygraph so I know which ones are coming in, and I have a doc of who recommended them. So for this one, I am picking up The Possibility of Life by Jaime Green. This is recommended by Kim at Wild Hearts and Wildflowers, so I'll link her channel down below. This is a nonfiction book that explores the science of alien life and humanity's quest to find it within the cosmos. I heard that Green really combines the insights of astrophysics and biology and science fiction to really drive home the different topics that is talked about within this book. And the mix of science, but also the imagination that is within this sounds like I am going to love it. So I'm definitely looking forward to reading this one, and happy that I was able to add another for nonfiction this month. That makes 3 for 3 months of reading nonfiction, which is really good for me. And it makes me happy. I'm glad that I'm able to like keep on weaving those in and not just focus them on November. So yes, I'm looking forward to this one, and I can't wait to share my thoughts on it.
Roll number 5, I believe. And it is a 1. Great. 26. Romance. Now that's quite the pickle.
Next, I got romance, which there is a couple of books that I thought about picking, but we're already on the 4th book, or no, 5th book of this roll. So I went onto Storygraph and sorted my romance by page length. And my shortest one ended up being Alone with You in the Ether by Olivie Blake. This works out perfect because this is another 25 on 2025 book for me. So that's good to get 2 of these done in November. So that way maybe I can actually keep up with my goal of reading all 25 of those. This is a romance that is the story about 2 damaged people. I think it deals a lot with mental health and that kind of aspect, which I found really interesting and like to delve into more. I like romances that have a lot of depth, and this one seems like that is going to provide it. From what I understand, it is reflective and deeply emotional exploration of mental health, love, and identity, and I am expecting it to be both heartbreaking and beautiful, which I think Olivie Blake does really well at. She, the writing style that she has had in the other books that I've read has been really interesting to go through and read. This is the first one that I don't think has a speculative element to it, as far as I know, so that will be interesting to see how I like that from this author.
Roll number 6. We are getting up there. I need some big numbers, please. 18. Perfect. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. At 44 is a fantasy.
My next role is fantasy, and for this one I have decided to do the exact same thing and pick one of my shorter fantasy books, since I do have quite a hefty TBR already, and I picked Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. I love Jonathan Strange and Miss Norrell by this author, and I have been hearing rave reviews about this book as well. From what I understand, it is a person who is in a house that is filled with a maze. I think it has some relation to like the Minotaur and the maze of ancient Greek myths. I don't know if that's totally the case, but that's the vibes I'm getting from this. But from what I understand, it has themes of magical realism, themes of amnesia and memory, and academia, which all sounds very interesting. And I think it's going to be very thought-provoking and just a really beautiful read based on Susanna Clarke's other writing that I have read. Fantastic author as far as the writing goes. So I am looking forward to this. This has been quite a few people's favorite book. So I'm interested to see if it is also one of mine.
And what should be our final roll number 7, I believe now. And it is a 7. So yes, we are off the board. 1, 2, and off. Okay, so 6 books on my TBR. That is quite the number.
So as you may have noticed, I have rolled off the board now, but I have one more book that I need to read in January that hasn't fit any of the challenges that was placed upon me. So therefore, I'm having a bonus book that I need to read. And it is the reason why so many of these are short and novellas, because this one is thick. It's like 900 pages thick. and this is Ken Follett's The Pillow of the Earth. This is a historical fiction, and it was my book club Christmas book that I got from Jessica in the gift exchange. So we are doing in January where we always read whatever book we get from the book exchange. So this is the one I got, and so I got a good chunk to read of this. From what I understand, this is a historical fiction taking place in the 12th century of England, revolving around the construction of cathedrals and what that may mean. I think there's some sort of meaning to that I do not know about yet. I do know that this story revolves around the lives of a builder, a monk, and then a noblewoman, and how they navigate their ambition and betrayal and love. And so I think there's a lot of intertwining storylines and possibly across different times. I don't know if there's different times within this book or if other books take place at different times. I didn't quite understand that. But I know that this is like a beloved book, and I think I'm gonna have a fun time reading it. And I got a nice floppy paperback to go through and read it with. So this is my 7th and final book of my TBR. I wanted to go ahead and share what I want to do with this month for crochet as well. If I can continue on with the temperature blanket, I will, but there's another project that has been sitting in a tote for months now that I would like to continue and finish. And that is, I am making kind of a folklore inspired cardigan out of granny squares. And so I have about half the granny squares done, and I'll show you some of them. Like, I have some that are just solid granny squares, which I'm going to have 3 different colors of those. And then I have some checkered, which these are really hard to make. So I think the ones I've made of these is probably going to be all that I weave in. I think I have about 10 of those made. And then I have some moon granny squares, some stars, and then some granny squares that actually makes the 3 colors of yarn. So that is the different styles of granny squares I'm going to make, and I think I'm about halfway done. I don't know that for sure. I need to get all of them out and count because I have a bag full of these. But I would like to go through and hopefully finish that cardigan. I think the main thing that I'm going to be making is the solids, just to kind of build out the little bit of that kind of patchwork type of look that I'm going for. But we'll see how that goes and how I start like laying it out, if I like how it looks. So as of right now, this is the project that I would like to finish in January, so that way I still have some cold weather to wear it this year before it gets too hot. So that is my January TBR. I'd love to know what your reading list is like for this month. Drop some of your favorite picks down below of what you're reading, and if you're reading of the same books as me, you can always comment down below to do a buddy read, and I'll reach out and we can try to figure that out. And don't forget to subscribe, so that way later on in January you can see my wrap up for these books and see what I thought. So happy reading, stay cozy, stay crafty. Bye.